All right, we're live then. So, hey everybody, this is my name is Delroy, and I'm with the Backtrackers, which is a video game book club. It's a group of people, a community within the Carpool Gaming Discord that we just get together. We pick a game to play. We celebrate that game. We celebrate each other, and we just talk about. We go into deep detail about it. So it's just really kind of a cool thing that we do about once a month, 3 to 4 weeks or so. Um, Today we're kind of celebrating the exact year of this thing that we've been doing. Some of us have been here from the beginning. Others have joined along the way, and I wanted to gather, Marcus and I anyway, wanted to gather a group of some of the more regular members to talk over their games of the year from that the Backtrackers have played and their experiences over the past year, and kind of share a little bit about the community. So, um, you know, this is a small group. There's only 6 of us today, but we're growing, and we welcome anyone who wants to come along for the ride. So, today I have with me in my top left is Bowza. She's the absolute boss of gaming. She gets them done. So she's the Elden Ring Platinum champ. And then to my right is Michael, aka Drellish, the 3-hour podcast champion. And then to my bottom left is Mr. Marcus O'Neill, my right-hand man. He's the running man. He and I are, he is the reason that we're doing this. He balances my idiocy out. He's the man. Below me, my Asian connection brother, Nagachaka. And I know right now him and his son are trying to work through Marvel's Avengers, the Lego one. So, and then finally we got Seth in the bottom right, $2 hero. He is the I guess I would say the lanyap of the group. He's the little something extra. And the crod, and what is it? You're the crawdaddy, the gumbo of Nintendo podcasting, right?
The Louisiana references all over the place. Yeah,
I got some more somewhere in there too.
Look at that.
He loves alligators too. So anyway, so with that said, I'm gonna pass it over to Marcus, and he's gonna talk a little bit about what we've done over the past year, some of the games that we've played, and then from there we're going to go around the room, and each of us are going to kind of touch on our favorite game and maybe like a favorite kind of moment or memory over the past year, and then we'll kind of go from there. So Marcus, why don't you kick it off?
Sounds great. Thanks, Delroy. So we figured we would start this thing off by doing a little bit of a summary, kind of priming everything out and talking about what we've done over the past year. So in the past year of Backtrackers, we played 21 games, over 18 different meetups. So we had a few weeks where we played multiple games. We played a wide variety of genres. We had some point-and-click adventures, survival horror, music games, sim games, detective games, card-based roguelike, RPGs, 2D Zelda-likes. We even debated whether or not one of the games we played was actually a game. I'm not sure that it was. So in terms of some stats, we've met for roughly 36 hours over the course of 18 meetings. Usually we take about 2 hours per meeting. The total time played, and this is kind of a minimum. I took this from how long to beat, kind of just looking at the campaigns, but we've played at least 182 hours worth of games over the past year. We've had the number of games that we played that featured voice actor Doug Cockle, who is the voice of Geralt of Rivia. So we played 2 of those. And the number of games that Delroy happened to choose to play that had the name or the title or the word, paradise in its title was also 2. So yeah, that's just kind of a summary. And I thought maybe we could I would quickly just run down the list of all the games that we have played so that people get a sense of the games themselves. So I'll start off. We started off, very first game was Death's Door, followed by The Forgotten City. Then we went to Boyfriend Dungeon, Spiritfarer, then Undertale, Paradise Killer, Life is Strange, True Colors, Bug Snacks, The Night in the Woods. It was a big popular one here. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, which again I'm not sure was actually a game. Chicory, Hypnospace Outlaw, Arcade Paradise. Then we've had our first double week or double meetup where we played Amnesia Dark Descent and Amnesia Machine for Pigs. That was followed by Inscription. Then we had a triple pack with 3 different music games. So Tetris Effect, Sayonara Wild Hearts, and Grease. And then Return to Monkey Island was next. And then the last game of the year, which we just recently met up to discuss, was Tales of Iron. So right back to you, Delroy. That's all I got.
All right. Well, as you guys can see, it's kind of a large mix of games, but I kind of think the running theme is that we're looking for games that are kind of under the radar, hidden gem type of games. We're not looking for the Destinies and the Fortnites. You know, people are going to play those anyway, but we want to have experiences that we can talk about that maybe not everyone else has seen, and kind of bring light to those, and some of the creatives that have that are behind these kind of amazing things that aren't AAA, right? So anyway, I think from there we will start off this thing so we can get it running. I'm gonna go to you first, Michael. Michael with the suit. Michael looking fly. So tell me your name. Tell me where we can find you, and then go through your favorite game. You know, and then we'll roll from there. And yeah, let's do it, man.
Perfect. I will do it briefly. So Michael, IGN Drillish. I think I joined the Backtrackers in February, so I missed the very first game. But yeah, it's been a roller coaster of a ride ever since I've been there. And one of the reasons why I joined was really that I was looking for a different type of exchange to talk about games, rather than I think what we always been exposed to, which is tons of reviews and maybe listen to a podcast here and there. So one of the nice things that it's not recorded, and we are able to get quite intimate with each other with regards to what those games mean to us personally in our journey of what we call life. If I quickly go to the games that have made the biggest impression on me, I think all games teach something, and I try and get everything as much as I possibly can out of the games that I can commit to. And at least these backtracker games, although I have not finished everyone, I'm pretty committed of getting things done so that I can join the discussion. I want to give an honorary mention to Inscription, because Inscription was definitely a game that went beyond what I expected a game would be. It pushes the boundary with regards to card playing games, or at least introducing the element of cards within games, and it went into some weird and wonderful places, some that I didn't expect. But the game of the year that I finished and perhaps meant the most to me is what you see in the background as well, which is Night in the Woods. Because it's a game that really talks about life, and it talks about maybe also the mediocrity of life that there is. And I kind of see it as, life, for some of us, it's a white canvas, and we can do on that white canvas what we want to do. But some of us also get dished out a different sort of canvas, which isn't always white, and some of it is burnt and some of it is broken, but we can still make a work of art from it. And it's really about I think existential angst that comes with when life doesn't go according to plan, and when your life and the various stages of it is not really a straight line, and hooking up with old connections, and kind of realizing that also life for them is different than maybe how you envisioned life for yourself, and coming to terms with that. And I think Night in the Woods picks that tale up beautifully with the main protagonist, May, and the experiences and adventures that she has to once she goes back to the town where she went to school and hooks up with all her old school buddies, and just realizes how different things are, and that we're not there where we left things off, but that we're actually looking at a new reality and how to cope with that. A beautiful game, and definitely worth your while if those type of questions are interesting to you. And I'll stop there. So I want to give other people also a chance to speak. But I thoroughly enjoyed this game, and the music is absolutely fantastic. There are some mini games in there as well where you are sort of a band and you have to learn how to play according to a specific song or some specific songs. And it is incredibly written. So one of the better written games that I've come across in my gaming career. So
What a soundtrack too, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Mm.
So that was me. Back to you, Delroy.
Thank you. I'm sorry, guys. I made a mistake by letting him go first. I forgot.
I tried to keep it short.
No, it's not even that. It's just not that. It's how do you follow that up? You
Right.
easily follow it up by passing it on to Bowser. So hey, Bowser, you can recover the group for us and make it even harder. So tell me about your favorite game of the year, and anything else you kind of want to add on to that. Maybe if you want to talk a little bit about an experience you had, or we can save that to the end.
Okay. Well, I'm Bowser. You can find me as Bowser or Bowser13 pretty much everywhere. So I was a little bit later to join the Backtrackers. I've only been in, I think, 6 meetings, which was 9 games. So I have less to pick from, but it was still quite difficult. I enjoyed a lot of these games and things outside of my wheelhouse, which is part of the reason why I wanted to join. I wanted a reason to finish some of these games that I wouldn't try or I'd drop after 5 minutes, if I just picked it up on Game Pass and played it a little bit. So it's really helped me to push through and, learn some more about my own gamer habits. So I was a little bit torn. I think I'll give my honorable mention to Arcade Paradise. I loved the management sim part. I started off thinking, okay, that's going to be it. That's the good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And by the end, I'm putting in the cheat code, so I don't have to worry about the laundromat at all. And I'm standing in the back playing all of those arcade cabinets the whole time. But I think my game of the year is going to be the most recent one, Tales of Iron.
Wow.
Very much in my wheelhouse. A little bit of platforming, combat. Just it hit all the right notes for me. I mean, there's a lot of references you can get to, in-group versus out-group between the rats and the frogs. And meanwhile, there's this whole other group they don't know about in the mole town. And then the idea of Reggie not really knowing as much about his father, King Radis, first of his name. Maybe he thought he did. There's a darker side that had been kept hidden from him. And that whole story just resonated with me, and the art style was beautiful.
You do notice one thing is she picked both the Doug Cockle games. So
Yeah,
that's
maybe that's it.
really what it's about.
And
Yeah.
both Delroy games.
Oh, there you go.
Right.
There you go.
There you go.
Perfect. Well, hey, thanks so much. I actually did want to ask you before I let you go here. Where did you hear about the group? I'm always curious, and I never ask.
It's probably just from listening to the Carpool Gaming podcast.
Okay. Yeah, I've been seeing some I guess some cross pollination from other groups. So I'm just curious. Okay. Thank you. I guess next we're gonna go to Seth. Seth, why don't you tell me about where the many places that they can find you? You're the busiest man I know, and why don't you tell me what your favorite game is, and maybe anything else that you want to add to that?
Sure. Yeah. So hi, I'm Seth. You can find me at $2 Hero, mostly on Twitter. I don't really do much else social media wise. But yeah, I do All In, a Nintendo podcast, All In YouTube channel, Keep Nintendo Weird, and of course, I'm part of the Carpool Gaming crew, the place that hosts this wonderful community. And it's funny. I was thinking about this because even though it feels like I've been part of the Carpool crew for a while, I actually haven't. I joined them, I think, in like late September. And so I joined Backtrackers like way before I was ever a Carpool host or whatever. I was just a community member. And it's been like an interesting journey. I think the way I heard about Backtrackers was just from I have this really bad OCD thing where when I'm in a Discord server, I want to make sure everything is like cleared out and read. Like if I see I have unread notifications in a channel, I just scroll through it and I don't want to see I'm weird. So I saw you guys were meeting up for Night in the Woods, and that's a game that is very, very special to me. I have a lot of like deep personal connection to that game, a little bit of a relationship with the developers and things, and I was like, I don't even know like what this is, but they're talking about one of my favorite games, so like I have to get involved. And what I found, like, that session was amazing. Like it was something I didn't even know I needed, which was just this outlet to sit down with amazing people, form these connections, and talk about these games in a way that is more deep and profound, and learn about how these games pass through the lens of all of these different people or not, and so that was like, that session was the game changer for me, and I was like, cool, I am in this now. And I've made like everybody here I consider like a lifelong personal friend. Like you guys are all amazing, and getting to know everybody in that group, getting to see new faces, it is the highlight of my month whenever we get to meet up, and it just charges my soul every single time. um and so like it's difficult for me to remove myself from that when talking about my favorite Backtrackers game, because I'm like, how is it not Night in the Woods, for that reason. But because that game is just so special to me anyway, but it's also the way that I came into this group and met so many wonderful people that I just treasure so much. So Night in the Woods is where my heart goes immediately, but I also would give a shout out to the Chicory session. I thought was amazing. Like I just it's so great whenever we have a game that can get us to open up as people, relate it to our life experiences, give different perspectives. That just really turns my crank, man. Like that's exactly why I keep coming to these. It's just the things that come out of those sessions, and this is the first time anything Backtrackers has ever been recorded, so it's just such a safe space for people to really go there, and it's just a group of people who are willing to go there, and it was just a game changer to me, man. I didn't know I needed it. So yeah, I'm gonna give the Night in the Woods the sort of, by default kind of have to go with it, but also shout outs to Chicory.
Indeed. Indeed. Well, thanks, Seth. I kind of feel like a fool. I didn't realize Michael rolled in here with his Night in the Woods background. I'm like, Michael, the game that we're playing right now is not that. We're playing Citizen Sleeper, and little did I know. So,
Yeah, man.
how about you? We're gonna go to you next. Or sorry, Nagachaka. We're gonna go to you next. You can bleep that out, Seth.
Sure.
It's all good. Um, so yeah, I found the Backtrackers through Marcus O'Neill because we're part of another community. And he mentioned that they're starting this video game book club, and I said, let's just give it a try. Build community. Had no idea what I was getting into. I'll kind of circle back to that. Before I get to my game of the year, I do want to give some honorable mentions to Paradise Killer, Life is Strange: True Colors, Boyfriend Dungeon caught me quite off guard. Really enjoyed that quite a bit. Tetris Connected, Tetris Effect Connected, and Gris.
Grease.
Enjoyed those quite a bit. But yes, my game of the year from the Backtrackers is also Night in the Woods. I'm glad Michael summarized it for me, so I won't kind of have to go through it again. So I'll talk about why that game just hit with me, resonated with me. Um, Besides the beautiful music and the story, just the dialogue really, it felt like you were having a natural conversation with your friends, and just the experiences that the characters were having just resonated with me. It just reminded me of what I was going through in my early 20s. I know Michael mentioned a mini game where you're doing Guitar Hero. It's a simple mini game, but when I saw them rocking out, it reminded me of spending my Friday nights with my three other friends, having beer, eating pizza, and just playing Guitar Hero until 3 in the morning. And it just brought me back to such a beautiful place and time. So little things like that. But Night in the Woods, I was able to make all these special memories outside of the game as well. I'll try my best to explain it. So there's another mini game where I believe May has to steal some pizza. Well, you don't have to, but why wouldn't you? So
Right.
there's a part where you have to steal some pizza, and I was playing with my son. He was doing some backseat gaming, and he doesn't always like to watch me play, but that one he thoroughly enjoyed. He was like, "Get the pizza! Stop! No, don't move!" So it was just little things like that that created special memories. But I think the biggest impact that Night in the Wood had was definitely the session that we had. Marcus asked a very important question in that conversation, which was, "What was one of your favorite lines?" And so I reviewed because there's a lot of amazing lines, but I went
Mhm.
back to look at them and I wanted to see which ones really stood out to me. And a few of them that stood out to me were there's a line about proximity friendships where they were discussing about sometimes you only make friends with people because they're close to you. And if you don't make friends with these people, guess what? You don't have friends. And that made me realize that, I'm very grateful and blessed that I get to be friends with the people in the Backtrackers because we don't live close together.
Hmm.
Some of us are in the States, some of us in Germany. So we're not proximity friends. We're friends by choice because we share the same hobbies. We care about each other.
Hmm.
Um, I won't go too much into it, but this was the first session of the Backtrackers where it changed from, oh, this is a fun thing to do to play video games with people and to talk about the same video games and nerd out. That's what Backtrackers is, but this session changed it from that to this is Backtrackers Church with family, where I get to
Hmm.
be honest, be vulnerable, make these deep connections with other people. Like Seth said, just made these beautiful connections with people just outside of gaming. So that's what Night in the Woods is to me. It's kind of monumental in that sense, outside of being a beautiful game with artwork and music, but just all these different personal connections that will be precious to me forever.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. I appreciate that, Nakachaka.
Thanks, Nakachaka.
Um, I was gonna say we've been since the beginning we've been working on trying to come up with some sort of I'm not even gonna call it a slogan, but um Sean has always called it the video game book club, and I know Michael takes particular grievance with that. It's not we don't read books. I was just thinking like we can't really. I've heard the word like it's like my church or like my religion like come up multiple times here, and in the various sessions, I'm like, well, we really can't call it like a video game church or religion either. I ain't gonna sell it. So
Yeah.
we're still working on that piece. So I'm gonna go next, I think, and then we're gonna finish up with the man Marcus. So for me, this thing Marcus and I started up. It was kind of suggested by Sean when I was on We the Gamercast one time, and he kind of brought up like something to this effect, and like Marcus, he was in I can't remember where he was on like a channel or something. We got a hold of each other and started DMing, and it took a few months, I think, didn't it, Marcus? We were kind of planning things out, trying to figure out what a good time to start was, and eventually we kind of introduced it to the carpool gaming community, and here we are exactly 1 year later, which is kind of uncanny. It's been a heck of a year, and we watched it grow from a handful of people to quite a few, and some regulars and some just pop-ins. So anyway, I've really had a hard time picking my game of the year, and it kind of goes in line with how whenever it's my turn to pick a game, Marcus gets frustrated with me. I think sometimes he's like you have like, you know, 27 games you're trying to pick from. I'm like, I know. And so, I looked through the list that we have a pin on the Discord of all the games that we've played, and I'm like, good Lord, like how am I going to pick a game? Like there's something here that I appreciate about every single one of these games. And so I'm going to say like we've been giving honorable mentions. So I'm going to give two honorable mentions, just one just as a passing. Loved Forgotten City. in a year of time loop games, that game stood out as a different kind of, like, it did something different with time loop games. It was incredibly unique, and I thought the discussion in that one was really cool. But the one that I really want to call attention to was Boyfriend Dungeon. So I had played this game a little bit before the Backtrackers and did not like it. And when Dave picked it, I was like, oh boy, like I don't know if I don't like this game. This kind of sucks. And ended up like playing through it, really actually trying to change my opinion on it. And the session itself was like super cool. Like we talked about a lot of things and like touched on a lot of things like I would never have imagined, that we would talk about. Like and now, I know that, the cat is my favorite, I guess, waifu. I don't know what you would call it. So
Cat food.
but yeah, my cat foo. But game of the year for me, Arcade Paradise. It's it is something that is not it is something that's completely in my wheelhouse and something that is completely outside my wheelhouse. It is a Delroy game. It's weird. It I don't like management games. I don't typically kind of like, it's not for me. Like I like an Animal Crossing fine or whatever, or Stardew Valley fine, but like I fall off really quick. But Arcade Paradise, there's something about it, and it really hit like a nostalgia bone in me. And playing those games like I used to play, on an old DOS PC or in an arcade, kind of seeing like that kind of grungy arcade grow from nothing to something, like the whole story. Like there's an actual story to that game, and it's just a really incredible thing there's over 30 arcade games in it. So I guess you can kind of say we've played over 50 games this year. I mean, if you played all those arcade games in there, so it's a heck of a work of art, and they're still doing DLC for it. So highly recommend that one. But yeah, I think that'll be good for me. So Marcus, why don't you kind of give us your game of the year? Tell us where they can find you. Tell us about the Backtrackers.
Sure, I guess. So yeah, it was kind of a very fortuitous sort of thing. I had listened to Delroy on his We the Gamer cast appearance, and it had come up. The topic had come up about doing some sort of. I don't think you guys had referred to it as a video game book club at that point, but doing some sort of thing, community something of playing games together and being able to meet up and chat about them. And it's something that had been on my mind for a while. I really wanted to do something like this, so I had jumped in pretty quickly and said, "Yes, please, let's do this." And then we connected, and it took a couple months to kind of iron everything out, and we chatted a little bit with Sean, and he was very supportive, and then we launched this thing with Death's Door, which maybe I'll hop into that to start. That's definitely one of my favorite games, but I didn't choose it as, so that I guess we can call that one an honorable mention, because it's not a game of the year for me because I had played it before. We thought it would be a good one to start out the whole thing with because it had some profile. It had really reviewed well. We thought that we could entice some people to come join us for that one. And it's a great game. It is a fantastic game. A couple other honorable mentions. I don't think there's anything too much more that needs to be said about Night in the Woods, but I feel pretty much the same that everybody else does here. It is a fantastic game. The writing is phenomenal. I loved everything about it, and the discussion that we had was fantastic. Chicory, Seth mentioned as well. Like, it's a pretty special game, pretty special discussion. Loved it. Platinumed it. Went back well after I finished the story to complete everything. It was a really great experience. But the game that I chose for my Backtrackers Game of the Year, I think is probably going to be one that surprises people. And the reason that I chose it is not because it was my favorite game, but it's kind of everything that it almost represents. It's and that game is Paradise Killer. So the reason that I chose it is because for me, Paradise Killer is a game I would never have probably played if not for the Backtrackers. It was a selection by Delroy, and I remember not being all that enthused when he picked it. I hadn't heard much about it. It looked weird. And honestly, I'd heard of it. I didn't know much about it. I had heard of it. So then when I started it up, I had it not been for the Backtrackers, I would have certainly dropped this game within an hour. It's a strange narrative. It's wacky. There's really crazy characters, but I continued with it because of the Backtrackers, and I came to enjoy it quite a bit. I 100%ed it. I got all the achievements on Xbox. It was a Game Pass game, and I probably put 20 to 25 hours into that game, searching for everything, completing it, and I would never have done that if not for the Backtrackers. And that's kind of what I wanted to highlight, because it really represented something to me that I would never have done if not for this. And it was an amazing, overall, a very, very good experience. We had a great discussion about Paradise Killer. I think it was a little divisive as well. It wasn't like the biggest hit by the whole group when we were discussing it. There's definitely some flaws to it, but yeah, it was something that I would never have experienced if not for the Backtrackers, and I really wanted to point that out, because that has, and that it will always hold kind of a special place for me because of that. And it really, I think it was the first game. I think it was the sixth game that we had played, but it was the first game of those six that really was like, okay, we've got something special here, because I think this is something that, again, we're going to be able to give people that they wouldn't have otherwise. And yeah, so that's my choice, Paradise Killer. Were you expecting that one, Delroy?
I was not expecting that at all. No, that's actually when you started going down that route, I was like, "There's no way he's picking Stanley Parable."
No, no, no.
It's not
Big
gonna be
game. That's
Hypnospace
not a
Outlaw.
game.
I'm like, he ain't going there.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it, man. Thank you very much. We're actually running quicker than I thought, which is good. Because I wanted to do something a little impromptu here. I'm not sure. Like, I know you guys haven't had time to think about this, and this is all like unscripted. So, we're not. I'm gonna ask this kind of on the fly, then, and open it up to the group. We're this is our second year now, and we're starting off with Citizen Sleeper, which is incredible. Just to kind of a heads up to anyone who's looking to join, like, it isn't just us that, Marcus and I aren't picking and curating the games. We could. I have 1,000, and Marcus has 1,000 as well. But this is a community-driven thing. So when you come, you get a chance to select a game, and we do that randomly. And the more times you come, the more chances you earn to select. And I can tell you that the group, we're very committed to actually playing the game with you. So when you pick a game, we want to play it with you. And so just to be clear, like, this isn't something that that Marcus and I are controlling. Like, we don't want to. I think in the end. But what I wanted to ask the group and kind of open it up to all of you is, now that we're into our second year, what do you want to see? Where do you want to see this group go, or where do you see this group going? And just what do you think that we can, where, like, what kind of growth can we see, or should we look to do? So I don't know, does anyone want to kind of go? I think, Michael, it's been a long time since you've talked, and I know that you have ideas. So actually, I'm gonna go to you first, and then I'm gonna open it up to everybody. So let's use Michael as a springboard here.
So funny that you asked me this question, because I was actually thinking about this throughout this afternoon. I was kind of sitting here and doing taxes, which one has to do in Germany quite regularly, unfortunately. So not the most exciting work, but at least it allows some time to think. And that's actually what I did. Yeah, it's interesting. It's for me a question of I think what I really appreciate about being part of the Backtrackers, and this is the core thing that I think I want to fight for, that we keep, is the level of intimacy that we've reached when we actually discuss the games that we pick. And I think that level of intimacy, of us opening up, being vulnerable, and showing where those games also hit us, or the storylines, or the writing, where they hit us in our life, and us being courageous enough to show that is perhaps a thing that we need to push through the bigger the group gets, because I think that there could be the tendency for us to protect ourselves and just answer the questions that either you Delroy or you Marcus prepare, and we just answer the questions slide after slide. And I do want us to challenge each other a little bit, with regards to, and the only way that you can challenge each other is by risking being vulnerable yourself, right, and opening up. And I think for us that are really at the core, and I'm going to say the six of us are really the inner circle, right? I don't like the idea of inner circle, but perhaps for us to lead by example, that we can show others how to be vulnerable, and open ourselves up. And Marcus, I really appreciated your story, right? Because that story that you told I had with Chicory, right? I was not a fan of Chicory and kind of saying, oh gosh, now we got to color in certain things and blah, what am I doing here, right? So, and I think going down that specific route allowed me also to do a complete 180 on the game, and for us to really allow to create those sessions. And so to summarize the thoughts here, to bring this to a close, is maybe just the task, if everybody feels that this speaks to you and resonates with you, is watch what's happening with people on the screen. Watch what's happening with them. So let's not just be blind to all the people that maybe come here for the first time or the second time or the third time. If you get a sense to ask a question, or maybe also interrupt the flow or leave the process in order to inject some life into something, then by all means do it. Because I think that we will all support each other, if there is a fear of things getting out of hand, because it won't get out of hand, right? I think we're all there to kind of care for each other and look and have each other's back, as Backtrackers continue. So in summary, I think as we grow, let's not lose the intimacy that we found with each other, and let's make sure that that intimacy can continue and can live and have room, to be experienced by as many people as possible. So that's the thought that I had. Hopefully it resonates with some of you. So yeah.
I think that's really well said, and I think that like it can be a challenge as this thing tends to get, and it's slowly grown. I would say, like our Tales of Iron, our most recent meeting was I think the biggest one that
Huge.
we've had to
Yeah.
this point, right? There was probably 12, 13 people at one point in the chat room, and so there's this kind of balance, and I think Delroy and I think have been slowly getting better at moderating. We were chatting about this yesterday, and at being able to bounce off of conversations and make it so that the discussion isn't so robotic and is more natural. And I think that that's something that, as we, everybody here is try to make the discussion as natural as and flow as natural, rather than it being, okay, now it's your turn, now it's your turn, now it's your turn. Of course, there's going to be some of that, no doubt, but like, allow and feel free to be able to interject, and because I think that that's what will help promote exactly what you're talking about, Michael. Like if we restrict ourselves to being able to, okay, now it's your turn to speak and now it's your turn to speak, then that I think interrupts exactly what you're talking about. And I think that's one thing that I think we have improved on over the course of this thing, and I think we'll continue to improve on. And that's something that's definitely conscious in both Delroy and myself's mind in moderating these things, because I think it does lead to better discussions, better friendships, better everything. So yeah, no, I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah. I'll jump in and just say too that it's interesting because that's going to be a struggle, I think, for us moving forward in general, because getting bigger is the opposite of being intimate, right? Like
Yeah.
the bigger it gets, it's just inherently going to be less intimate, because you just when we have time constraints, we don't all just have time to sit here and chat for 5 hours, as much as I would love that. We just don't all have that kind of time, right? So we have kind of time constraints, and when we have a huge group of people, like you were saying, Tales of Iron, 10, 12, 13 people who are like actively chatting and sharing their thoughts, it's difficult to sort of like rein it in, but also allow space to sort of go there and have deeper discussions and stuff. So I think that's going to be something that we do need to kind of feel out as the group continues to grow. But I think also um, getting people involved with it, I think, has been so cool because it's just a matter of getting them in the door. Like for me, once you guys got me, you got me, right? I'm here. This is it now. You know what I mean? And I think that we see some of that all the time. Like John 32, for example, joined us for Tales of Iron. He's, oh yeah, this was amazing. I'm coming back for sure. You know what I mean? And like we have people that'll come in just to either like listen in or whatever, or they want to get involved in the future. They want to get a feel for what it is. And I'll say too that for our part at Carpool, and this has been a huge focus for me ever since joining the team, is I try to mention it on like every podcast. I try to plug Backtrackers like constantly. I'm like, I want you all. This is the hidden gem of the Carpool community. You all need to come in here and just at least get a taste for like what this is about. And I think getting people in the door, like once you know the kind of first hits free mentality, get them in here, and then they'll keep coming back for more. You know what I mean? So yeah,
Just
I
a
do
taste.
think
Just a taste.
just a little taste, you know, for sure. So I think I think it's gonna continue to grow, and I think we're gonna see more and more faces, you know, come in, and I think once they get that taste, they'll come back. But we just got to figure out how to sort of yeah, keep the intimacy of when it was just small groups like this, from you know back in those days where it was just you know you'd be lucky to see double digits of people. Like, could you imagine? So I think we're going to see that a lot more frequently. So how do we make it feel like it's still tight knit when it's not anymore? You know. So
One thing that comes to mind for me is once we do have a lot more people, maybe not everyone will talk or answer each question.
right.
And is there a way we can get ahead of time an idea of each person which question they really want to talk about, the
Good
one they are
call.
most passionate about? I don't know
Yeah.
how to do that, and it's it's hard to tell how many people are going to show up that day. But if we could make sure that person gets the floor for that question, then they
Good
can
call.
be vulnerable. They can
Mhm.
really get into why it's important to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think
I
that's
think the
good.
last few sessions, Delroy and Marcus have been doing a really good job because the numbers have become so big. They've kind of pivoted from here's the question, now it's your turn, to your turn, your turn, to here's the question, who wants to chime in? And as you come to more sessions, you start to feel more comfortable. There's a few times where I'm just like, no, I'm good because
Right.
um, five other people said what I said, and I'll just say, yep, 100% on that. And then when there's something that's either super random or something important to me, you'll just hop in. So I think Delroy and Marcus have been doing a good job at moderating and kind of opening the conversation to that format as opposed to everybody gets their turn. So I am seeing that pivot to accommodate the numbers because, like you said, if we're going to do everybody, we'll be there for 6 to 8 hours.
Yeah.
I think we're getting better at it. And, Michael took my answer, so I won't repeat it, but I do want to see that continuation of that intimacy. And no, but Michael makes a good point, like as long as we continue to be vulnerable and look to look and see how people are reacting and kind of make sure that we're not just passing those moments, but making sure we're going deeper when we can kind of see those connections, those little light bulbs or other moments where you can see people are connecting. And then the only other thing that I would like to see continuing is because it is special to play games with other people at the same time to talk about it. There's nothing more frustrating than playing a game and then mentioning to a friend who beat it 2 years ago. Because even
Right.
though they like that game, they forgot everything. So it's very special to play a game with people at the exact same time. What I would like to see is just that we continue to discuss it. Obviously, the meetups can't top the meetups. But if you're unable to make the meetups or you're unable to say as much as you wanted to, just DMs one of us on Discord. Like we usually put in the chat that I've rolled credits, so you'll know that you won't be spoiling the story for one of us. And that's a good way, I think, to continue the conversation or to start it. There's many times where I've DM'd Delroy and Marcus and said, I effing hate this game. Like this game's not for me. And then a few days later, it's like, actually, really
Right.
like this game. So it's fun to have those, conversations as well. Not as intimate as, on Discord chat, with a video chat, but still even being able to have that conversation still keeps it going and still provides that community connection piece. So I think
Mhm.
if we can continue to do that, it'll help quite a bit.
But I can guarantee you, if you ever need someone to talk to about a game, you just that's already beaten it. You just talk to Bowser the day after the game is picked, because
A
she's
beast.
done with it, man.
I
That's
haven't
right.
even
Beast.
started this one.
Oh,
That
I
surprises
think you'll
me.
like it. It's pretty cool. I think for me, Marcus and I are constantly talking about this stuff, and I know that I've been in a lot of your DMs too, asking what what I can do to be better and what we can do to be better, and it's on our mind a lot. Like everything, I don't want to sound flippant, or I guess like I don't know how to put it, but everything that people suggest to us are things like just 99% are things that we've already thought of, or that that we are thinking of or talking about. And it doesn't mean that you shouldn't share, but we are definitely, like, this is on my mind a lot. When I'm eating lunch sometimes at work, I'm thinking about this. And so the intimacy thing is really important to me, and I noticed to Marcus as well. And for me personally, like, a goal of mine is to maybe do less talking myself and and do a better job facilitating other people and trying to draw out. And like I was saying yesterday during the Tales of Iron, kind of to poke into product things, and to kind of flesh out some conversation that maybe needs to be talked about a little bit more, or that is interesting to talk about. I I think that as we grow bigger and we look to still remain intimate, like, I've tried to introduce the side trackers thing that we do, in between sessions, and that's more of a like, like Sean calls them a sweet hang, right? But it's more about life, and we do talk about games some, but it's not, there's nothing attached to it. There's not a game you have to play. There's not homework. It's just come show up and then be a person with us. And I think some of those things have been, ways that I've been able to stay connected and keep the intimacy with the folks that show up there, uh, you know, outside of the main sessions. So, I think that we're constantly looking to do more, constantly looking to get better, and that's my goal this year, is to look back on year two, hopefully with all of you, and to say, we here's where we improved, and we are getting better, and it's not just about the number of members or the number of people that show up, but it's about the quality of what we're doing. So, Mark, I guess I was ending with this. Like, Marcus and I have always said to each other, like kind of privately, like, we probably do this thing even if none of you guys showed up, because it's
Sure.
it's just a cool
100%.
thing. So, yep. So, alrighty. Well, does anyone else have anything that they would like to kind of say for the greater good as I kind of close out here? I guess going once and twice and three times. So, anyone?
So
Just
much.
thanks for coordinating this thing, Delroy. This is awesome. It's good to be able to chat and get together and talk about our favorite moments from the past year, celebrate the year, and yeah, appreciate
We
it.
should do it every year, I think, if
Yeah.
possible. So just honor that which was, right? So
Right.
so we honored last year, so that's great. So let's do if we feel that's the right thing to do, then let's just do it next year. I think one final thought that I have, and I know that you're doing it. I just want to reiterate the fact that let's keep on doing it. Is shout out for those who come to visit us for the first, second time.
Mhm.
So either on the
Absolutely,
Discord to say, hey, it was good seeing you. Thanks for coming. So just that they feel maybe a little bit more confident of, showing up again, and they kind of feel that appreciation of the group. I know that we're doing it. All I'm saying is just a reminder, let's just keep on doing that. But I
Yeah.
think that that is good for those who, maybe lack the confidence or feel a little bit insecure, of joining us. So, yeah.
I don't know. I can't express how cool it feels to have a person join us for the first time and then post that they really loved it, like
Right.
after the meeting. It is so good.
Exactly.
It's so cool. Yeah. So 100%. We encourage everybody to come check us out, and you'll have a good time. I swear. I promise.
You
I
will.
mean, after John posted that, I had to have my wife put a pin in my head to stop it from inflating. So, all right. Anyone else have anything for the group? And then I will let you guys. I know it's pretty late for Michael and I here out in Deutschland. So, anyone else
Oh,
have
good.
anything from Canada or from the United States?
Thanks, guys. I can't believe it's been a full year. Just it seems like it's flown by, but this really was a nice trip down memory lane. Just bringing back old memories and the old discussions we had. So thanks for organizing this. This was really good.
Excellent.
It's an honor, I think, for me to call each one of you, because I haven't met any of you except for Josh physically, to call you friends.
Good
And
hugger.
yeah, thanks. You too, Josh. Yeah. And as we get older, I think friendships become more special, right? So we don't take them for granted. So I take none of you for granted. So thank you.
Absolutely, man. I'm right there with you. You give Michael and I the
100%.
space to talk, we're gonna talk. That's just how we are. I love everybody here. I truly do love everybody here. And these connections are special. And like the games are one thing. The games are great. It's fun to play video games, but it's the way we connect. It's the people. It's the way we connect to each other with these games that makes Backtrackers special. So yeah, come in. Come on in. Get involved.
I'll just say one thing for anyone that's thinking maybe they want to join, but they're a little nervous. Maybe
Mhm.
they're not comfortable, speaking up and interjecting. Marcus and Delroy will take care of you. They will make sure that you have the room to speak. And if you don't want to speak, you don't have to. But you will be welcomed. You will be given a chance. Everyone can come.
Yep, just
Love
come
it.
hang out. And speaking of which, the next couple things we have coming up on the 28th of this month, we have a Sidetrackers meeting where we're going to do a celebration of the year, of the past year with the community, and we'll have some fun stuff for that. So if you can make it on the 28th, which is a Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we'd love to see you there. And then the following week, we're going to be going over the game that we're playing right now, which is Citizen Sleeper. It's an incredible indie narrative cyberpunk game. It's really cool. And we'll be going over that one, kind of diving in like we were talking about here, and that will be on the 4th of February, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, a Saturday. So I think with that, I'm good to close out. Seth, you can hit the stop button, and thank you all for your time, and have a good day.
See you guys.
Bye, guys. Much love, everybody.
Bye.